Hey guys, welcome back to the Southern Philippines. Today in this video, I'm going to be talking about the SIM card registration act, where you actually have to register your mobile phones and show identity, and what that means to foreigners and really Filipinos alike. But I have been vlogging for a while because it's been raining almost every day here for like days and days and days. Even today, I'll show you around. You can see the clouds. Got to move out of the way here. So I thought it would be a good day to talk about this issue, but also to show you what it looks like in a province city when it rains, and really why I don't go out that much, just the drainage and what it's really kind of like on the street. Where I'm at right now, that is the main market right there and the National High School over there. We're gonna walk down this way, which is gonna be where the actual university is here in town. So this is kind of one of the main drags in the city. So this is fairly typical of what the main streets would look like and what the residential ones are. All right, we're gonna skip just a little bit ahead because we got music down here, and then we'll jump right into the content. All right, so got past that, and now we're walking. And here it's not so bad. I mean, the streets right here between there and the main drag aren't too terrible. But as you get on up into the side streets, there really is not very good drainage. You can see there, one of the side streets, there's really dirt, and it's just not some place that I want to go riding my bike or walking in. So it's not real pleasant to film. But anyway, the thing I wanted to talk to you all about today was the SIM card registration act that's coming up here in the Philippines. It was just actually signed into law by the president a week or so ago. And, you know, it's a step back as far as privacy issues in the Philippines. A lot of countries that I've been to have done it. So to kind of explain what it is, if you have a mobile device, such as a cell phone or a tablet or anything that is going to be able to connect to a cell phone tower, then you have to have a SIM card. That is the chip that goes inside of these things and shows you, or shows the tower, that you know you've paid your bill, you're authorized to actually be on that. So up until now in the Philippines, you could just go into anywhere, get a SIM card, pay for it, put it in your phone, pay for whatever service you're going to have on it, and you're good to go. You didn't have to show any ID. You didn't have to prove who you are. There was no sort of central registry. Now, a lot of countries in the world, which I'll get into later, have already done stuff like this. Several of the countries that I have stayed in. And again, we didn't have much of a rain here today, so it's not as terrible as it was. So they've now signed into law to where you have to do that. And some people would say that's great. We need to know who's using these things. The problem is the Philippines is much different than other countries and other places you might be used to if you've never been here, as far as how you get services and stuff goes. So in the Philippines, in the rural areas, heck, even in most of the cities, one of the main points of transactions for most people is to go to what's called a sari-sari store. And so if you look, like across the street, that's a sari-sari store. There's one over here. They're going to be on almost every single corner. And what happens there is you can go and you can buy a SIM, and it's just somebody who's basically set up sometimes a shop right in front of their house on a street. Could be a side street, could be a main drag like that one, and you can go buy not only a SIM card there, but you can reload if you're doing prepaid and get more minutes or more time or more data on that phone or whatever device you're going to have. Now, that's where probably 70% or more of the transactions in the Philippines, as far as getting load, that's the time or whatever you put on your phone, is called. So unlike in many countries where you have to go into a corporate store for whoever the cell phone service provider is, and that's where you do your transaction. Or if you're going to be doing some sort of a prepaid phone in the United States, you go to a major retailer like Walmart or something like that. Here you go to those local sorry stores. Now, the problem with that is under this new law, if you're a foreigner, in order to get a SIM card, I'll show you this real quick. In order to get one of those SIM cards, you're going to actually have to show your passport, which means you're going to have to turn over that passport to them, and they're going to have all of your identifying information. They're going to have the numbers associated with your passport. That's what the law requires as far as foreigners go. For Filipino citizens, it's going to require them to prove some sort of identity as well. Now, if corporate stores are the ones who are actually collecting the data, that would be one thing, because you would have another system of checks and balances in there. Not necessarily that I trust corporations more than I do an individual store, but you might have surveillance cameras. I know we had that for sure when I was in Serbia, because the lady pointed out to me that they would check it, they could come in and check it against the surveillance camera. But that would also ensure that the stuff wasn't being copied, maintained by employees or individuals. So that's something to consider, and I don't know what the logistics of that are going to be, because they haven't really rolled that out. I haven't seen that anywhere, of how they're going to control how this information is collected, how this information is stored, how you're going to ensure that at the collection, the point of collection where the purchase of the SIM is done, or where the SIM is registered, how that's going to be done. And I mean, it could be, my God, as simple as them taking a photograph with their phone of your ID and then transmitting it to the cell phone provider. And then again, who's going to go and make sure that that individual photo isn't taken down off of that phone and retained? Like here, this is one of the reasons I chose this street. This is PLDT, which is the main internet provider, at least in this town. You also have Globe, but they own one of the major ones, which is Smart, the other cell phone company. So theoretically, you could go into one of their branches. They have a Smart one here in this town in Digos that I'm in now, but they don't have, you can see what the rains have done there. They don't have Globe, which is the other major provider. Now, years ago they did, but that shut down. So again, most of the action is going to be done at that sorry store level. One thing I'm going to mention about sorry stores, because a lot of folks may not be familiar with it here in the Philippines, is it's not just a place to go get SIM cards or something. It's also a place, it's like your local convenient mart, but mom and pop owned. So, you know, it's chips, it's Coca-Colas, it's waters, it's laundry detergent, it's alcohol, it's sacks of rice, it's all kinds of stuff. A lot of these sorry stores simply go to the grocery store, they buy a bunch of stuff, bring it back at a very small markup, and then it's literally in your neighborhood there for you to buy. They don't have a huge markup on it, but these are the central point of sale for a lot of convenience items, such as getting a SIM card here in the Philippines. So lots of other countries that I've been to actually have this requirement. Most of them, believe it or not, were former communist countries where they were still tracking the communication. So when I was in Albania, you had to show your passport there in order to get the SIM card, as I recall. Thailand definitely had that, but again, Thailand, I guess they call it a democracy, but it's kind of a military coup that took over a long time ago. So they're very interested in tracking everybody, so you had to do it there. In fact, in Thailand, it wasn't just at the initial registration. I am fairly positive I had to show them my passport every single time that I got even renew on there, unless I did it at the kiosk. They had like an electronic kiosk where you could do that. So obviously some electronic kiosk is not asking for your passport, but the individuals were when I would go and pay in the store. Now, I personally don't like this. I think it's gonna be a step backwards. A lot of people will not want to do that. Of course, in Southeast Asia, I'm not sure where all else you can go that doesn't have that requirement. But the thing is, it's meant to catch money launderers and so forth. And I'm not real certain that that's what you're gonna do. I spent years being a criminal attorney in the United States before I quit doing criminal work. And laws like this, which are being told that they're being done to prevent criminal activity and so forth and catch criminals, you know, imagine that the criminals don't actually do that. They don't follow the law. They go get a straw purchaser or something else to do it. So you never really end up punishing these kind of laws, the actual criminals. You end up just using it as a means to inconvenience and surveil your own people. Now, I don't think that's what they're trying to do here in the Philippines. But what effect I do see it having is if you're not going to have something rolled out to where you're going to regulate, you know, I'm not going to pull up to some random sorry store and give over my passport. That's not going to happen. So unless you're going to have something to control that, you're going to have all kinds of identity thefts. Not because most sorry stores are doing something bad. They're not. Most of them are just good, hardworking people. But you are going to have access points at, you know, maybe 1 in 50 or 1 in 100 of those to where that could happen, especially in tourist areas where they can capture identities of foreigners. And I'm sure it will happen as far as Filipinos as well. Anyway, guys, that is the update as far as that goes. I'm not real thrilled about it. Obviously, you have to comply with the law if you're going to actually have cell phone service. So that will be done. But I really wish that this law hadn't passed. And again, we'll have to see how it ends up being implemented. Packs of dogs running everywhere. All right, guys, if you like this content, go ahead and subscribe, hit the like button so other people can find it. And on this muddy, muddy day, I'm going to grab my bike and head home. I'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.